We're taking the example 6. For example, laptop is the question. What we need to do, if you look at the assignment, it says we need to create a class with the parameters. So this is the name of the class laptop, and the parameters are these all things: brand, model, etc. Similarly, the second point is we need to create the constructors. We need to create the default constructor as well as the parameterized constructor. Okay. Third point is we need to create the gators and setters, and fourth point is we need to create objects of the class using different values for a variable. So I'll come to the fourth at the end. So let's take take this example, laptop object creation. So I'm copying this and I'm going to create a new Java class. Right click or go to file, go to new Java project. This is the question number 6, assignment 1, question 6. 1, question 6. So I'm creating the class now, project now. Once the project is created, I'm going to create a new Java class. Okay. So when you create a new Java class, it's not mandatory to give the package name, but we can give a package name for a better clarity. com.example. Name of the class is going to be laptop, right? So I'm going to give the class name as laptop. Perfect. Nothing else, just click on finish. Now we're done. The class is created. Next thing is we're going to put these parameters within the class: brand, model, screen size, etc. So within the class, I'm going to have some of the properties. So these are the properties that I'm going to have, right? So I'm going to decide what is going to be the type of each of these properties. Perfect. So I'm going to create a brand. So what are the different values for a brand? Brand can be Acer, HP, right? So I'm going to create the brand. It's going to be a string value. So I'm going to make it string brand. Okay. But if you look at the abstraction, if you look at the encapsulation concept of Java that we're going to discuss in further classes about the OOPS concept, it says that a class should never expose its private variables. It should never expose its properties directly to others. So it should have an abstraction layer, say for example a getter or setter method, which is going to give you the access. So what I can have right now is I'm going to have a string brand, but this string brand is now accessible. It is having a default scope, so others can access it. What I'm going to do, I'm going to make it private. So this is not directly accessible. Private string brand. Okay, done. Similarly, I'm going to have model. Model, say for example, it can be HP Pavilion, okay, or some sort of string name. Pavilion is a string name, or any other value. So I'm going to make it string model. Similarly, the screen size, it can be 15 inch, 15.6 inch, 14. So it's not an integer value, not a string value. So I can make it a float. Done. Color, it's going to be red, white, black, and all these things. So it's going to be a string value, right? So I'm going to make it string, private string color. Price, so it's not going to be a string, it's going to be a float. Price. Processor can be Intel. It's going to be a string, private string. RAM, it's going to have a particular amount of RAM. So it can be 4 GB, 8 GB. So it's going to be an integer value. So we can have private int RAM. Hard disk capacity, it is going to be 800 GB, 720 GB or 1024 GB. Okay. So we can have this one as integer. Operating system, it can be Linux, Windows, Mac, etc. So it's going to be another string. Done. Now we have all the properties they are needed to create a laptop, right? To create a laptop, as in we're going to create a laptop's object. So while creating the laptop's object, these are the properties which I can specify. Fine. Now the thing is that as all these parameters are private, whoever is going to create the object of laptop, he can create the object of laptop, but he can never access these properties. So there should be a way to access these values. So what we do, we basically generate a getter setter way to access them. Okay. So to generate getters and setters, what we do right click, go to source, go to generate getters and setters. Click on that. So these are all the fields which are available in the class. These are all the fields. So if you want all the fields to be having getters and setters, you can click select all, or you can expand each one of them and you can select the specific one which you want. So I'm going to select all the getters and setters. So Eclipse is going to create all the getter setter methods for me. Click on finish or OK. Now we're done. So you can look at the class it is having. So if you focus on a particular variable, say for example brand, somebody is not able to directly access this brand property because it is private. But if somebody is trying to set certain value into brand, he can call set brand method. And whenever you are setting some value, you need to pass that value, right? So when he passes the brand value, say for example HP over here, if somebody is calling laptop1.set brand, and within that double quotes, within the parameter is going to pass HP, then what is going to happen, that HP is going to be copied to this laptop1 object's instance variable. That's what we call brand. Laptop1's brand value is going to be updated by the value that I have passed to this method. Similarly, other properties can be accessed or other properties can be assigned by their respective setter methods. If somebody is trying to get the value of brand, okay, he cannot directly access the value. If somebody is interested in the color, he cannot directly say laptop1.color because this is private. He is going to call laptop1.getColor, get C-O-L-O-R. This is a shortcut. If you press Ctrl and O, it will display you all the methods available, all the properties available in the class. Okay. So if somebody is interested in getting the color outside the class with the object reference, he cannot directly access this because this is private. So he is going to call the getColor method. Okay. Now here we are in the color. So if you call laptop1.getColor, it is going to return you something because you are trying to get something from that, right? So it will return you the value of color. The color is a string property, so you need to have a string return type. So all these things, they are automatically generated by Eclipse. So it is saving a lot of time. So this is how the getters and setters are created. Okay. Now we need to create the object. So if you look at the question, it says that create a class with the parameters. We have created the class. We need to create the constructor so that we can create the object of that class, right? We need to have a constructor. It says we need to have default and parameterized constructor both. So how am I going to create a constructor? I can directly write the default constructor over here. Otherwise, I can take the help of Eclipse with the source code generation. I can right click, go to source, and you can go below generate constructor using fields. If you click on that, it is going to ask which all fields we need in the constructor parameter, right? Generate constructor using fields. So if you look at this, it is having all the parameters that I'm having, and by default they are all selected. Okay. So it is like if you want to create the laptop object, you are going to pass all these values. If your business logic says that even if you don't pass the operating system value, okay, and if you don't pass the, say for example, the processor value, you can still create a laptop. Okay, or say for example color. If you don't give color and the operating system, you can still create a laptop. So we can uncheck these two values, and when we click on OK, it is going to create a constructor without these two parameters. So here is the constructor that we are having. Okay, and in this constructor you can see the class name is the same as the constructor name. This is the class name, this is the constructor name. It doesn't have a return type, and the parameters are over here. So if you want to copy the parameters value, so method or constructor parameters value to the instance variables value, we need to use this operator. So this operator points to the currently accessing object. So whichever object you are calling this method from, that object's brand value is going to be the brand value that we have sent over here. Okay. Now the constructor is ready. It is asking for another constructor, which is the default constructor. You can directly press Control and space. It will show you the default constructor, the first line. Okay, this is the default constructor. Show you, this is the default constructor without any arguments. If you double click that, it is going to create the constructor for us. Now we have both the constructors ready. Both the constructors ready. One with the default one and second one is with the parameters. So I think the second approach, the second question is also solved. First part solved, second part solved. Third part is also done with Gators and setters. Now we need to create the object of the class using different values for the same parameter, for the same variable. So for example, I am having a brand as HP, I can have a brand as Lenovo as well. So I am going to create two different objects. While creating the first object, I am going to pass the brand value as HP. Second time when I am creating the object, I am going to pass the brand value as Lenovo. So I am passing two different values to this brand value. That is the way how these objects are created with different type of value, because we are copying this value and assigning them to the instance variable. Now the class is ready. What we need is we need to create object of this class. Similar, as we know that specific things go into a specific location. This is a business object. It contains the business data. Okay, laptop related information. We should not have any functionality related to other stocks or any functionality related to dealing with laptop, like working with the laptop, anything else which is not just data, which is having some functionality, we should not put them into this laptop class. This class is a dump, or we call it a plain old Java object or POJO class. It just has the data. It should never have any information about the business logic. So if you want to have some business logic, we can create another class in a different package. So for example, I can create another class and I can give the package name as question.runner. So this class is basically dealing with running my class and having some of the business logic, or I can have business logic, right? The class name is, we have created a laptop object creation demo. Now we have a different class. Within this class, I'm going to create object of laptop. When I say main, within that I can create a laptop. Say for example, my office laptop, right, equals to new laptop. Perfect. But as you can see, the laptop is unrecognized over here. It says laptop is undefined, cannot be resolved to a type. What it is suggesting us, we need to import the laptop because it belongs to a different package. It doesn't have direct access to that class. So I need to say Java, this laptop is basically coming from this com.example.question package. So we need to put a mouse on that and we can click import. If we click import, it is going to be automatically imported into our class so that I can create the object of that. You can look over here. Here is the import statement, which is the fully qualified class name. Okay, with the package name and the class name at the end. This is the fully qualified name. Now the laptop object is created, but you can see I have called the default constructor. I have not called the parameterized constructor. So it is creating a laptop without the value of its different parameters. If I want to specifically set my office laptop dot set brand name, okay, set the brand value, I can set it. I can call it a Dell laptop. Fine. If I want to specify my office laptop dot set RAM, I can set the RAM, it's an integer value, I can say it's 8 GB. Fine. Similarly, my office laptop dot set OS as it's a Windows, so it's going to be a string value. So I have created one object and I have assigned them some values. Other values are still null. Or if it's a primary field, it's a primary of parameter, it's going to have the default value. For integer, it used to be 0. Now what I need to create another object, another laptop object. Laptop, my personal laptop equals to new laptop. This time I'm going to pass certain parameters over here. So I'm going to call the parameterized constructor. You can press Control space within these two brackets and it is going to display you the parameterized laptop constructor. You can see this is the first constructor, which is the default constructor. We have already used that over here. Now I'm going to use the second constructor. This is the constructor. Double click on that, so it is going to ask for these all parameters, right? It's going to ask for all these parameters. Double click on that. Okay. Double click on this one, not this one. It's going to create another new class, inner class. We're going to call the constructor. Double click on that. So it is asking me for the brand value. I can give Apple. Model is MacBook Air, and the screen size is, it's a float value. I'm having a 14-inch screen. Okay, as 14 will not be understood directly, it's an integer value. We need to give the specific value 14F, comma. Then it's asking for the price. The price, for example, is 65,000. It's a float value, so I can give a F, comma. Then the processor, Intel Core i5, comma. It will automatically highlight the next property. See, now it's highlighting the RAM property. I can say it's an integer value. I don't need any double quotes or anything. I can directly write 8, comma. It's saying the hard disk capacity 256. Got it? So now we're going to look at the object that we
It's 11 o'clock.
See, now I have created a new object with these all parameters, right? Now the second object is created. If I'm not sure, like I have written something wrong or something has happened and my personal laptop has upgraded, I have modified the laptop's hard disk from 256 GB to 512 GB. So what I need to update my personal laptop dot set hard disk size, hard disk capacity. I said it 512. Now the new capacity is set. Now I have two different. If you look at the question that was asked, create objects of the class using different values for a variable. We have now over here for different value. Okay, this is the first object which I have created. I have set a value, brand name as Dell. Over here I have set the brand name as Apple. So this is the difference and thing is done. If you want to display the details of an object, say for example laptop, if I want to display the details of laptop, what are the different values for its parameters, then what we can do, we can go to the class and there is a built-in tool of Eclipse which we can use to display the object. That's called the toString method overriding. We'll learn more about overriding when we start learning inheritance. Okay, so right now I'm going to use the Eclipse Code generation tool. I can right click, go to source, and at the bottom over here you have generate toString. Click on that. It will ask for which all parameters do I want to display. So if somebody is trying to print the details of my laptop, it should say your laptop's brand is this, model value is this, and all this information. Suppose I want to display all this information without the price, I can uncheck that value. Okay, or if I want everything, I can click select all. Now I can click on OK. It's done. Now you can see there is a toString method which is overridden. This @override is called an annotation in Java. This annotation is just to add certain meaning to a method or a class or a property or a variable. It doesn't have any business logic of its own. It's just a marker interface. We'll talk about them later on. it says that this toString method is basically coming from a superclass. Okay, so every class in Java is inherited from its parent class, that's called as the object class. So this toString method is basically coming from the object class. We need to tell compiler that this is the overridden method. So don't go to object class toString method. Rather focus on this toString method. If somebody is calling laptop.toString, then it should be executed. It should not go to the object class. So we need to say override. We'll discuss about override when we talk about inheritance and polymorphism. So now what it is returning? It's returning a string value which is going to be printed into console. Whenever somebody is printing a laptop object, system.out.println, my office laptop, so it is going to print this string value. And you can see this string value is like basically Eclipse has generated it properly for us. It is saying it's a laptop and is given a bracket, starting and ending bracket. And it is having brand equals to, now it has appended the value of brand for that object. Similarly, then comma, model equals to, appended the value of model for that object. Similarly, other properties whichever I have selected, they have placed over here. So I can click on save and I can go back to my object creation and I can print both the objects that I have created right now. Sysout my office laptop. Fine. Again, I can print this out my personal laptop. Save it, and if you run it, run as Java application. You can look at the console. What it is saying? It is saying first one is a laptop. The brand is Dell. Model is null. Okay. We have not set any value for the model. We have not set any value for screen size as it's a default. And the default value for a float object is 0.0. So it has printed the screen size as 0.0. Color we have not set, it's a string object, so it has given the value as null. Processor is null, RAM is 8 GB. Similarly, other values that I have specified. But you cannot see the parameter price because I have unselected that. That's not present. Similarly, for this laptop, it is saying that it's Apple and MacBook Air, screen size 14, other stuffs. So that's how we create a constructor, and we create two constructors, simple a default constructor and a parameterized constructor. How we call them, how we set the different values, and how the getters and setters are automatically generated by Eclipse, how the constructors are automatically generated by Eclipse, and how we print a specific object into console if that object is not directly understood by Java. If it's a custom object, say for example laptop, Java never knows about laptop. I have created the class. So if I want to print my custom class, I can always write a toString method. I can override that, and whatever I want to print, that will be printed. If I want to print the laptop's value in capital letters, so for example, I can make the changes over here, laptop, and if I want to give, say for example, a curly brace, starting and ending a space and curly brace, I can do that. If I go back and if I run the code, you can see the changes right now. Now this bracket has been changed and this thing is positive. So it depends on us how we're going to implement that. That's how we create the constructors of classes now using Eclipse code generation tool.